Thank you very much. Well, I can start by saying I can honestly say that I've gained so much from taking part in this study, both in terms of the knowledge I've gained, as well as my improved fitness. And I also enjoyed it very much as well, which is a benefit. I was diagnosed with CLL in 2007. I've been on watch and wait, or I was on watch and wait for nearly 10 years until late in 2016, when a biopsy found that my bone marrow was 96% infiltrated. So unfortunately, then in 2017, I had to have FCR immunochemotherapy. I've achieved remission since that time, and my blood results are now mostly low normal. But that treatment was really aggressive and it really took it out of me. So when I got out of that, I really wanted to improve my fitness, but I didn't know how. One of my fears in life has always been losing my independence as I get older. I've got a family history of strokes and heart disease, diabetes, and also Alzheimer's disease. So I want to avoid trying to get those things. And I believe being physically fit can actually help avoid that. It was interesting that Ellie had us talked about goals, and in fact one of my goals was to be strong enough to deal with any future therapies when they come along as well, having been through the grueling time with FCR. So as soon as I saw Dr. Bartlett's first presentation, I think that was about 2 years ago now, about this study, I knew that I really wanted to take part. After all, why wouldn't I? I've got so much to gain, but nothing to lose. I was lucky enough to be randomized into the exercise and diet group. And I started my 12-week intervention back in April. And that was followed by another 12 weeks, but that was working on my own. And I undertook all of that at home. And then, of course, the fitness assessments that Ellie mentioned were carried out before, during, and after that time, again, after the 24 weeks. Before starting out, I was really worried about the high intensity training because I have asthma and I've never really done aerobic exercising before. I had a mixture of both excitement to take part, but also fear in taking part, especially looking silly and not being able to do things. But I found Dr. Bartlett, Ellie and her team so friendly and so professional and well organised that at no stage did I feel uncomfortable or silly during my visits for the assessments. And I've received so much help and support throughout that time when working at home. So I was given the fitness plan that Ellie mentioned, also one of the tracker watches, and the resistance bands as well. And I also already had an exercise bike, which was barely used. I didn't know how to use it. As Ellie mentioned, I'd get on there and as soon as I felt tired, I'd stop. So that sort of wasn't very good. The high intensity training is really hard. There's no doubt about it. But you have confidence in pushing yourself because it's been set at a level that is safe for you. You've been through so many assessments and you've had feedback from that. You're safe to push yourself, and you get that support from Ellie to do that. Ellie didn't mention, but the fitness tracker, she can actually monitor how well you're doing by looking at the results back in Surrey. So again, she could see when I was achieving my heart goals, but also when I wasn't. It didn't help that some of my training was actually during the heat waves in the summer, so I did definitely get really hot and sweaty. The training with the resistance bands can also be really quite challenging, especially trying to find out where to do that. I started off using the stair banisters, but then I was afraid I might loosen them, so I ended up using the door jamb instead, and that works really well now. But as I say, there's plenty of support from Ellie online, email messaging as needed. And you get a new training plan each week, which, as you mentioned, ramps up the intensity. It's so satisfying. Oh, I'm going to say, Ellie also provides a post 12-week intervention report that shows you how well you've been doing. Lots of detailed information from the assessment visits, so you can compare where you were at start to what you've achieved after the 12 weeks. You can see real measurable progress, and it's so satisfying being able to see how far you've come in a relatively short time. So what have I found? From those reports, I found that I have improved my body composition. I've lost some weight, although you don't want to lose fat, you want to keep the weight in terms of your muscles. I've taken a good inch off my weight, waist, which is pleasing. I've improved my heart health. I believe at one point I was told I might have taken a decade off the age of my heart, but I can't remember exactly what that meant. And also my lung capacity. And as an asthmatic, that's really important. I've strengthened my leg muscles, improved my upper body strength. But I've also got a lot more knowledge about these things, the importance of them, and received advice about how to continue my fitness training. As I think I mentioned, I was lucky enough to also be randomized to the dietary monitoring. I thought I was on a really healthy diet until I had some feedback following a dietary assessment. I found that I had a need to reduce my sugar intake by swapping out some of my breakfast cereals to low sugar alternatives, and also sticking to the portion size. I'm sometimes a bit too generous. Also being mindful of eating too many yellow fruits, which have a higher sugar content, and swapping these out for veg where I can. I was also given advice about diet around exercising before and after, so that you're fueled to start your exercising, but also that you feed your muscles afterwards within half an hour of exercising. And the need to maintain my weight, no further weight loss. At one point, I needed to boost my high fiber and carbohydrates, and to increase sources of iron in my diet. So they're very personalized goals that were given to me. I have continued the regime since finishing the formal part. I think it's week 37 now. Was it worth my time? Absolutely. To me, I feel it's a once in a lifetime opportunity that I can just highly recommend. So thank you very much for listening.